Hi everyone, I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit to Spirit, Teachings of Going Within Self, on TikTok, 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and I really encourage people to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit, Teachings of Going Within Self, to get a better understanding of what it is that I bring forward on my channel. Have you? If you're not new to my channel, you know I bring a variety of different things. Today, it's going down another rabbit hole. Okay, I've been going I went to my therapist, and I've been going between like the bit like seeing things in the biblical aspect of it, seeing things in the spirit, the physical, and have you. And right now, there's a lot of energy going on right now because what I've been talking about is very, very intense. And right now, it's a lot in the head. And it's like, and I'm feeling very off today. It's a very heavy day, and I'm not sure if many of you are experiencing that or what have you. I was scrolling through TikTok today, and I was brought to my attention that a woman in Atlanta, Georgia, she's deceased. She's brain dead, but because of the law of the abortion law, this deceased woman, her body's being kept alive because she was 9 weeks pregnant when she actually went deceased. And I'm trying to understand for the life of me why anyone would think that was right. So when I was watching this, it was brought to my attention. I kept hearing people talking about The Handmaid's Tale. So I started watching it. And it's all disturbing, if you ask me. That someone said, well, we didn't ask you. Well, see, the thing is, people wanted this stuff in play. They wanted abortions illegal and everything like that. Now, I'm going to ask straight out, if it was you in that situation, do you think you'd be making the same decision? Do you think you'd be making the decision that you're forcing these people to make? Do I believe in abortions? I believe that an abortion is up to the person, but people need to be really educated. And I don't just mean educated within the abortion part of it. I mean educated with regards to sexual relations. It's not other people's responsibility to make sure that you're not becoming pregnant if you are not wanting to be. Okay? This is going to be touchy for some people, and that's just fine. Okay? Because I know people who had an abortion, and that was a choice they made. It was not my choice to make. For some people, that choice is hard to make. For others, it's just like, oh, well. See, these ones that want to say about The Handmaid's Tale, they're the exact same ones that promoted the Sexual Sterilization Act. So if there's not enough babies in the world, as they would have it, but we know that it's for other nefarious things too. See, to force a woman to be pregnant, you wonder why the world is the way it is, because that pain and suffering goes on to the child, and then you expect You want people who, okay, I was talking to somebody else about this, and we're on the same wave of it. Woman gets raped. They think she should carry the baby. Does anybody know the pain mentally and physically that a rape puts on a woman's body? And that's without pregnancy. See, are there women like ones not using precautions? Because they'll say, well, and in this movie they talk about birth control, how, God doesn't want that and what have you. What? You think that women are supposed to be like fucking rabbits? Because you want your bitches to be slaves? Abortions are performed too often, yes. And it's usually caused from people not using the appropriate precautions. So it is a frivolous death. It is a selfish death. But it's the person's choice to have the abortion. They're the ones that have to live with it. But see, this stuff, like when I look at The Handmaid's Tale, okay, and I say that, like, when you're seeing things, like, they're just putting different labels on it, okay, because the outbreak of what you perceive to be COVID, it was the same as the Spanish flu. So it's history repeating itself. And how many years later? Basically almost 100 years to the day. People are saying that all these diseases that were gone extinct, all of a sudden they're back. But they had cures for them. You're seeing it all on here, but you're not realizing that it's different planes of existence. It's your ancestors telling you, but it's putting it in languages and things that our small little minds can comprehend, because I do say small little minds, because we're asleep and we're not understanding. And I can feel that in my body. And there's some that have disdain for me, and that's fine. And there's some that I can feel your voices wanting to speak up. So why aren't you? I'm not saying speak up to me. Why are you not speaking up and standing up to the system? You think that, like, the ones that you class as lawmakers, who gave them permission to make the laws? Oh, wait a minute. It was the ones that voted for them. See, now we're going to get somewhere else, okay? Because a lot of people, you're learning in your church that, like, Jesus came to bring peace and harmony and what have you. Am I talking about biblical text right now? Oh, yeah, well, I guess. Because people say you're in Revelations, the Quran, that mainly lives by the Old Testament. And that's what the handmaiden goes by, the Old Testament. So I guess the Old Testament was pretty fucking brutal, wasn't it? But they'll say, oh, great things in the Bible. I just seen a lot of killing. See, do you know, people say that Donald Trump is their Jesus. And it's very possible that Donald Trump is their Jesus. And why do I say that? Because there were two Jesuses. One was named Yeshua, and one was Jesus. One was son of Mother Mary, and one was son of Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary were pretty much right around the same age. Mary Magdalene came from a rich family associated with kings. And Mother Mary, well, her family wasn't poor as they say they were. See, Mary Magdalene had Jesus when she was 15. She got pregnant at 14, had him when she was 15. You know, this is what I'm bringing forward. This is what I resonate. This is what they're bringing to me. They're telling me their story, and I'm bringing it to you. Because I said many times I can relate to things. But these are the things that they don't tell you in the Bible. See, family took Jesus. Jesus was taken from Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene and Jesus are very much alike. You think of, you want to say about Lilith and Lucifer. Same as Adam and Eve. But it was Lilith and Adam, but they separated. Adam, it said that, Adam created his own Eve. Well, do you think Lilith didn't create her own Lucifer? But see, people want to condemn Lilith and Lucifer and see Adam and Eve as another way. But see, Adam was in love with himself. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? They've got to always have somebody below them. Jesus ran away from home. He was constantly running. He was looking for something. Was he looking for something, or was he looking for someone? See, right here in the book of Thomas, Jesus said, perhaps people think that I have come to impose peace upon the world. They do not know that I have come to impose conflicts upon the earth, fire, sword, war. For there will be 5 in a house. There will be 3 against 2, and 2 against 3, father against son, and son against father, and they will stand alone. So here, I read a thing where it said that Thomas was a fiction. Why was Thomas a fiction? See, Mary Magdalene actually ran away, left home. And Jesus was looking for his mother. But people don't get that. Fathers wonder why their sons are angry. What happened? Daughters are angry with their mothers. What happened? Hey, it's Sunday. It's church day, right? People say about twin flames. Was twin flames actually a fucking love of two different people, or was it love of a mother and a child? Was the child angry with the mother because it left? Who do you think started the part of the daughter of Mary Magdalene being the whore? See, in your text, people say that Jesus was 30 and Mary Magdalene was like many years later. She was about 45, 48. Some people don't like telling me saying this because, oh, it's blasphemy. It's blasphemy. It doesn't have that in the Bible. Where is it in the Bible? I don't see it in the Bible. Well, all your books aren't in the fucking Bible, and the truth ain't always in there. People say the Quran is not real. Well, how do you fucking know the Quran is not real? What? Because it's saying a different story to it? You think that side of the story didn't fucking exist? How daft are you people? Am I picking sides? No, I'm looking for my child. It's you're here to help your children, not to continue with the same thing over and over again. And this is where it was supposed to stop. But it's showing. Some people, your money and your fucking materialistic bullshit crap and entertainment means it has more value to you than fucking family does. We go absorb ourselves because nobody wants to work through anything. Nobody wants to face their own scary truths, their own untold stories. That's what we're in. We're put in a world of untold stories, and people will kill each other so that their story don't get told. What the fuck is your malfunctions? And then you say you're people of God. The Handmaid's Tale. They had in the Handmaid's Tale that the house the woman was staying in, the windows were locked. She could not open windows. Does that not sound familiar? Have you ever looked into the rules of the White House? Ah! See, couldn't open the fucking windows. Ugh. No escape. You know, excuse me, was it twice that the way that whether it was the White House or the Pentagon, whichever. I think it was might have been probably the White House. In the wars, how many times did it get burned down? You know, you're looking at this plantation place in Louisiana that got burned down. Why did it get burned down? It's telling you something. But some people don't want to see or understand that because they've seen it a different way. I'm not here to argue with people or debate people. Because instead of debating one another, why aren't you just telling your story? Oh, wait, because it's not fun unless you're fucking arguing and popping out your swords or your peckers and saying, I'm I'm the king of the castle. No, you're the fucking dirty rascal. I'm not your church, then I'm gonna stand up there and oppose it. And Jesus said he was going to take back the lands of Israel. Was Jesus actually maybe talking about his family's inheritance that was taken from them, their divinity that was taken from them? Jesus was angry. He wanted to stir up some shit. Hey, motherfuckers, you gotta see the truth. You say that he went and he said, people follow me. What happened? It divided families, right? Families were left behind to go preach about the Father. Who is the Father? Because maybe your father is not my father. Maybe like you have an infinite creator, but there's other creators along the way. See, the infinite creator wanted to be the only creator. You know, you say, and this is the same because it all runs down the same storyline. Michael and Lucifer, Cain and Abel. Well, Cain was the man and Abel was the woman. Michael is the man and Lucifer is the woman. You know, did you ever notice you depict Lilith and Lucifer the same? I don't have your average content. I ask questions. I bring things forward that, you know, it's very well possible, you know, sit with yourself. It's your story being told, but you're being told it's someone else's. Why are you perceive someone to be above you, but it's not above you. It's within you. Heaven, ground, in between. and the grounding. Heaven and earth are fighting, and the heart is in between. Your cows, yin yang. A child of God, goddess. Okay, where does a child come from? Child comes from the womb of the mother, right? Okay, the womb can be considered the black hole. So what you're doing is, there are many black holes. If there are many black holes, it represents there are many women, many wombs. A black hole, they say, will suck things in, but a black hole actually creates. Okay. Leap of faith. What is a leap of faith? Okay. Some could say, like, you're jumping into something. You want to try something. Are you going to say, what if, and hold yourself back? Or are you going to say, okay, I got to take this leap of faith and deal with it as it comes? Because if I never take a leap of faith, then I'm going to be stuck in the same old loophole. Do you notice that in the 8, it's constantly going like this, right? They say 8 represents abundance. Does it represent abundance, or does it keep? Because when you do the figure 8, what does it do? It crosses over, right? Or some people draw their 8s like this, right? Some people draw them where, how do I? Okay, so 8, what? And some have the in between in their 8s. Okay? How do I explain it? Zeros are the loops, keeps you loose. Ones are straight up, straight down. The 8 is the constantly going on that fucked up roller coaster. Okay? You have abundance and you don't. You have abundance and you don't. And it's like so it keeps you in a form of anxiety. Might have lost on people on this. But ask yourself, when you keep doing the same thing over, and then you say, oh, well, this great thing happened, and then all of a sudden, like a month or 2 later, it's like, shit, what just fucking happened? It keeps you in that constant anxiety and stress, right? People say the earth is flat, people say the earth is round, and I asked, is the earth actually a coil. With, you know, you have the different levels to it. You know, they say about cutting the earth in half, you have the different layers, right? Depending on how the tech plates are, you know, they shift, right? What's your tech plates? The tech plates are those right there. The chakras, the seven seals. The seven seals are the chakras within you. Each chakra you move from, you're opening up those seals. That's revelations. Realizing that it's talking about you, your inner workings. You know, have you ever looked when they do the map? Okay. And it's like the earth is in the center. And then they have the different planets going from the earth and what happens when they all align. Seriously. You think it's not telling you that, like, the planetary alignment? You think it's not telling you that it's your fucking body? I went and I did stars and galaxies at university. I started that, and I couldn't. It was like I couldn't finish it because it was like I was relating it all to the human body. Seriously. You know, you said about Mary Magdalene and the seven seals, the seven, well, you guys said the seven demons, right? There were spirits, seven sisters. You know, hey, in 99, when I was going through this, I had trouble looking people in the eyes because I kept seeing seven stars in their eyes, three in one and four in the other. Seriously. I'm still seeing a lot of stuff up with regards to the Bible and stuff with regards to the chakras, and whether it be the Bible, the Quran, or whether it's Muhammad or Jesus or Allah or Jehovah or Yahweh. They say the I am. And those same ones that say that that's the name of God, they'll say God has no other names, just that one. You are all known by different names. It's like an amnesia. You're the spirits that keep you keep incarnating, but it's those spirits of your ancestors, those spirits of you that every time you wanted to try something different or you wanted to experience something or you wanted to know. See, you look at it like only these people are bad and these people are good. When you have good and badness and good and bad in that. Because what you're doing is you're living on the two different planes. You're living in the masculine and the feminine plane. Feminine wants it one way, masculine wants it another. A masculine, you know, a lot of the time they're aggressive, and then they say that it's the feminine. No, the feminine is reacting to the aggression. My ex-husband, he keeps telling me, oh, women think they can read men's minds. You're fucking right. Women actually can read men's minds, the same as there are men who can read women's minds, because they are connected to the actual spirit. They're intuitive. So the intuitiveness, you're actually hearing their thoughts. And when you're hearing their thoughts, that's when they will deny it, because they've just been called out. And I can feel that in right here. Somebody once didn't like me saying that. Well, it's true. I didn't say that it was either a man or a woman. I said it was both. But see, that's where people don't get it, because you only hear what you want to hear, or understand something, how somebody else portrays it to you, because you don't want to use your own fucking inner workings to do it yourself. I read on the stuff, God come home, or Jesus come home. Yes, I've been yelling for Jesus to come home. I even went running one day for him, but Jesus wasn't his name. It was the father and the daughter who had a beef with one another. The daughter seen things differently than the father did. So I've been, like they say, the man, the masculine is the creative side. I have it down somewhere. And the feminine is more of the nurturing. So I know that I'm balanced between my masculine and my feminine, because I use the creativity. And that's when it comes together. And, I hear and I can feel that laughing. It's a little psychotic, if you ask me. Psychotic is more of a psychic in its ego. Psychopath is a psychic in its ego. That's a pathological liar. And it's gender neutral, because a woman can be in her ego. And a woman can be, or and a man can be in their empathic state. Can go far left, far right, which that's what you're witnessing right now with your governmental systems. Okay, you had the two siblings in the beginning. You had the two siblings; they were put at separate ends, but you had the fourth. Two sets of twins. I'm just sitting with that because I'm figuring out the two sets of twins. It's like, did Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene look alike? And Jesus and Yeshua? And that's why things are so confusing in your biblical texts or in your belief systems. Maybe Jesus did go back to his hometown. Who was son of, which one was son of God and which one was son of man? And was it part of the Enlightenment? One went through hell while other had it easy. One preached biblical text and the other preached healing. I feel people sitting with that because I feel it right up there in the roof of my mouth. You know, that's in one part of the Bible, it says that Jesus said it was said that he came to bring peace. But in the book of Thomas, it said that he came to bring chaos. Did you ever notice that sometimes Donald Trump is saying one thing and then another time he's saying another? And he never looks the same. But see, people will not notice that, except for people who are awakened and understand what it is that they're observing. So when I comment to certain things, I'm commenting about that Trump. Or, you know, it's been Elon, it's been JD Vance, I've said about Danielle Smith, I've said about Trudeau, I've said about Carney, I've said about Pierre Poilievre, or however the fuck you, not being rude, but don't know how to pronounce it. And I'm not going to put a lot of time into trying to figure it out because people used to ask me if my last name was if I had a stutter when I said it or if it was a typo. My last name and my two last names weren't exactly the same. The married name was missing two letters, but the last part was the same. See, when I looked in my own family line, I found that split. Just that, you know, when you see those, start seeing the similarities. Then you had the prostitute, Mary. But you all perceived her to be Mary Magdalene. I'm sitting with this a lot, like because people, only preachers can understand the biblical text, and we have to listen to what they say it means. Really? You know, you say about the sheep, come to look after a sheep. A true leader would teach its sheep how to put slip. or protect in a group. See, I looked in the Hindu book, okay, because people are saying about cannibalism. Adrenochrome or whatever the fuck they call it. Adreno. Whatever. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. And when I first got this book, I went right to this page. On the 9th day, okay, a lot of people say that the 9th day is, or the number 9 is God's number. That's what you say. Okay, a lot of people say. The 9th day. But if one flee from them, though you and terror through you and terror being begotten, then on the 9th day, the blood drinking deities of the Vairagya order, Vedra order, will come to receive one. Thereupon, the setting face to face is calling the deceased by name. Thus, O newly born, listen undistractedly. He of the blood drinking Virja order. Okay, now look at your series movies of the Twilight series saga, or whatever the hell you call it. Okay, what was in that? It was a council, right? It was the council of the elite vampires. Okay, we'll use this as context, and you know, take this how you will. So if you see it from that perspective, okay, you know, you're saying about it what keeps people alive, okay? But you know, they say that your blood is actually blue. It doesn't turn red until it hits oxygen, right? Yep. Your water, what did they do? It was said that they stabbed Jesus. Was it Jesus? Or was it Jesus's mother, Mary Magdalene? And I ask these things, okay, because it was Mary Magdalene who had the crown, who would wear the crown on her head. And if it was Virginia Creeper, like I had my friend make me a crown, and I got her to make it out of Virginia Creeper and crystals. Now, if Mary Magdalene had it out of thorns, would that not make sense? Where they would make that awful crown and stick it on her head full of thorns? See? Like, seriously, people, what are they doing to what are they doing to women? What are they doing to the feminine era? See, if people are wondering, like, what the hell are you going through? I'm going through what Spirit is asking me to go through in order to bring truth. Every time this happens, when I'm with a therapist, like, does it hurt? Like, what's going on when you're? It's like, see, I look at young people, even like, especially like the littler people. And they're so smart that we make them stupid because we don't want to hear what they have to say. And then we stick them on these machines. And then we wonder why they are so angry and aggressive. I said, this one's down the rabbit hole. It's going to go wherever spirit takes it. When I was watching The Handmaid's Tale, it was like in those days, the women had to become involved in the fucking torture and torment of other women if they wanted to survive. It's like what you're witnessing right now with MAGA and the Proud Boys, which I say they're, you know, if you watch Peter Pan, which Donald Trump I perceived to be Peter Pan because he was the father, the grown-up that didn't want to grow up. And he got lonely, so he indoctrinated some Proud Boys. But they're not always boys. Because, you know, they say the lost boys, but you have the lost souls. You have the frequency. You have Peter Piper. They say the story that Peter Piper was getting rid of the rats. Well, what form of rats were you talking about? Because they weren't the fucking rats that scurry around on the ground. They were the kids, the lost boys, the lost kids, the boys that were going out and being destructive because they felt like they had no place at home. So they wanted to fit in somewhere. So the father was dying. Peter Pan was going to die. So his son, that he called Rumpelstiltskin, which is an actual true story of Rumpelstiltskin. And he was a dark character too. But he was the son of Peter Pan. Malcolm, where he called himself Malcolm McCone. This was on the series. He was Peter Pan. He hated his son because his mother got sent away because she was going to kill her son or take his divinity from him, steal his magic. See, I look at life the way it's being perceived out there, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do watch it, I'll binge certain things. I'll watch, Spirit will guide me to certain things that Spirit wants me to watch, like The Handmaiden, okay? Because it's watching it all the way through. It's much like a PTSD, okay? In order to overcome the PTSD, you have to watch it all the way through because something's triggered the bad part of it. But what was the outcome? What were you programmed to forget? Because that's what it is. You were programmed to forget something, and you're now remembering it. Spirit wants you to remember it because Spirit wants you to remember it for a reason. And it's not about spirit wanting to hurt you. It's spirit working to help you to heal and see what it is that you're trying to heal from. But when we stop our PTSD, or when you're in a PTSD moment and there's somebody there that don't fucking understand what it is that I'm explaining, they're going to be real pecker-headed fuckers. Because it's called ignorance. Because you didn't experience something. Everybody else is overreacting, right? You know, I feel for the people who were in the military, but I have no respect for the military. And that's a confirmation. Because I'll tell you, like, people go in there and they could be fine when they go in believing that they're going to do this great thing for their country, for the people. The one you're doing a great thing for is, you know, your leaders, the ones that have you in there because they don't care if you die. That's what they call the front line. You know, but, you know, if you look at a chessboard, what? They have the kings, the bishops, the knights, the queens, and I know there's the other ones in there because I have the chessboard. Why are they not in the front line? You know, they're the ones with the power. Seriously. They might be the ones with the power, but they're the biggest fucking cowards. And they call themselves royal. A royal asshole. Mary Magdalene was part of the crown. She was royal, and she was in a royal bloodline. So any descendants of Mary Magdalene's was of a royal bloodline. And yes, Jesus would, if Jesus was Mary Magdalene's son, then he too was of the royal bloodline. But then you look, we keep repeating stuff. You look at the story of King James. What did King James do? King James and his aunt had her killed for the throne. Had James's mother killed for the throne. I see the resemblance. Are you like not comprehending because you're too busy listening to how someone else fucking interpret it, and thou shalt not be the therefore there whereas what in language that people don't even understand because you know you're trying to be intelligent, right? Seriously. People want to go to church. They go to church, but understand what the true, what they understand, what the teaching actually is. So I say I don't come in here to argue and debate and fight over it because I know that everything in the stories, in the books, in the text, in the biblical aspect of it, all has its place. But so many people say, well, no, that's not real. Well, if one side's real, the other side's got to have some truth to it, right? Hey, guy, tell me you're liberal. Okay, liberal. I'm fucking proud to be liberal. At least I'm not a fucking conservative that looks like I got a stick up my ass every goddamn fucking day judging everybody because, oh, they might masturbate in a corner and we can't see it and catch them and condemn them for it. Keep your fucking hands off kids. Kids at the age of 13 should not be getting married, and any parent that condones that should have their fucking ass kicked from here to Timbuktu with a little bit of their nose rubbed in it. Is that cruel? No. That's what the problem is. What your religion believes in. And that ain't being ignorant either. Now, I'm going to show a picture. Okay. I was just turned, I believe it was like 14. Okay. But I was certain, keep in mind, it was a 21-year-old who had sex with me at the age of 13. Okay. And there was blood all over the place. And all I could remember was fucking hockey memorabilia. So excuse me if I don't like certain things. Okay. You know, I don't care if somebody thinks that was gross. Is that all you heard was the gross part? Or did you hear the fact that I was 13 and it was a 21-year-old who did it to me and I was babysitting for them? It was their friend's baby, but they asked me to babysit. My parents didn't know because I didn't tell. Because I was led to feel like I would be the dirty one. Right there. I heard a mixture of things right now. And to the one that said I would ever, thank you for exposing yourself. Yeah! See, for some reason, I always thought that I was a blonde when I was little. But I actually wasn't. Said like a strawberry blonde. But see, as you go through your inner workings, inner healing, you begin to see things differently. I was looking through somebody's photo album and I was extremely confused about a lot of things by the stuff that was in the room because it was like, well, that's not my place, but that's my stuff. And I never got the stuff from those people. Because what you end up seeing is on both sides. you're seeing yourself as that person, because that spirit of them, it's like you're traveling through different existence, and nothing makes sense. So you're seeing it on your TV, the stations. You're tuning into a station. It's like, is it, I'm going to say, is it really a big, like a big globe world? Or is it like the realms and we're just not realizing how we're traveling through it? And right now, I just got a big old ring in my ear here. We're traveling through frequency. So it's like, think of an autistic child or an autistic grown-up even. Just anyone autistic. Okay. Autosensitive. Now I just thought of autoimmune. When they say autoimmune, they're actually referring to frequency. You're immune to a different frequency, or you're not immune to it. When it's they know not what they say or do, it's said because it's happening and people aren't aware that it's happening to them. But at the same time, it's also looking at it from another perspective. It's that part that is spirit is forever, is always shifting and changing. So it's that spirit working its way, and it just happens to have to go through your frequency, and you get the uneasiness, or you're there to help it move, or it can be there as a disruption because it's artificial. Like your phones are an artificial frequency because it's not natural. So it's easier to send a different frequency through it. Why your wires are not natural. So you get a different distorted frequency through it. The radio waves, natural radio waves coming in from the ether and what have you. That's the true essence of the spirit, God, creator, source, universe. You have the universal laws. I have the book of the universal laws. This is the stuff that your biblical text is actually referencing to. But it's been interpreted to become a control, to say that you're incapable of doing this. The only person that could was Jesus. But in the book, it was actually telling you that you were being told that you are able to do it yourself. You make that connection. Why do you feel like you have to go through somebody else to make a connection to the God that you're trying to connect to? Why do you have to go to somebody else to make that connection? Seriously. It's between you and God. He was not as, he was, how do I explain it? Okay. Son of God or child of God represents an expansion of itself. So the son would be the expansion, his son. The daughter would be the expansion, which all represents the mother, the father, and the children as a trinity, a triad. You know, they say it in like when you're working on both sides. Okay, they reference one way and the others reference the other way, and right now it's all intertwined together because the third war. They say the third war, the last battle, and love wins. But you have to go through everything in order to realize that love. So you have to, you're being pulled apart and separated into neutral corners, but you're going against one another because you're right. Maybe you're trying to make sense of the other person, how they think, how they feel. And I know that it lost people right there when I said about that. But that's only because you're not understanding the parables, you're not understanding the metaphors, because you're not there yet. It's like people say about doppelgangers. Are they clones? Like people say about clones. Are they clones or are they like a doppelganger? Are you producing another version of yourself in the physical world? And if you are, it's why, like, what is the purpose for that? What are you getting from that? Whether the person looks like you or not. They can also be mimicking your frequency. They can be mimicking your body language, your beliefs, your experiences, traumas, what have you. It's that part of mirroring. You're mirroring yourself through others. I had somebody tell me, like, when I was in my late 20s or something like that, that they were at a fair somewhere, and there was somebody there, and the person told me that they could have swore it was me in my older, around 40, 45. So if that person sees this, like, is that the person you see? I just heard, you're not 45. No, I'm 50. And sometimes I look 50 because I look at myself in the mirror. Some days I look at myself in the mirror and I see myself like I have weight on. So I'm still working through my insecurities. Because I'll be honest, lately I've been eating a lot of sugar and not doing a lot of exercising. Just kind of in a hermit mode and watching the buds come out on the trees. I have frequency on, so a brook. Oh, I can't see it on the TV because it's not on the TV. It's just on my speaker. A brook and in the woods. So you're looking at it's a love story, but it's a family love story. It's like the Titans and the Olympians. They got to sort their shit out. Yep. And the biggest ones are the mother and the father. And I'm not saying that that's the mother and the father of creation, because they both split off from themselves. And that's why you have the four. Is my Adam and Eve? Michael, Adam and Eve? Because you always have Michael and Lucifer always fighting. I just got was Michael Lucifer Michael's mother. Because if you Lucifer was Lucifer Michael's mother. Because the oldest sister, and when you had Moad was the son of Lot and Lot's oldest daughter. And I was watching this something cannabis and God or something like that. And he was saying about the big daddy was going to come down and hump Gaia. And Gaia was, you know, so when you look at Cain and Abel, was it actually the father who did something to Abel and Cain got blamed for it? Yeah, and then I believe they had to say Abel died, so Abel ran away. Either that, or they did like something happened to her and she got left for dead. Because where did you say about werewolves? Where did the first vampire come from? You say Lilith. Was it the female that brought herself back to life and she was demonized for it? So they couldn't put a woman's face on anything. That God would forbid that. Discriminatoria. Yep, the anus of the universe. Yes, in parables, but I do tell people what it is. Uranus is the anus of the universe. you look at the ancient stuff, they do talk about the planets being certain gods. And did I not say that each person is like the earth? Do you see destruction? And is that destruction within yourself because there's things that you're not seeing or looking at? Are you not facing your fear? Because your biggest fear is seeing yourself. And I caught that. It was like just a drop, and people would think that, well, I see myself every day. If you're still feeling depressed and down and full of anxiety and wondering why your life's not changing, ask yourself, do I really see myself? And then ask yourself, where do you see yourself? Right now, it's a part of when you're sitting with something and it's making sense. Sometimes you think, how can that make sense? Are you feeling the emotion that you're experiencing it? That's how it makes sense. So next time you see yourself going to church, you go, ask some questions. Question them. Seriously. Because you should be. Because that's what Jesus liked. That's what was liked when she asked the questions. She just didn't take it all at face value. She would make them think, and they didn't like that. It had to be straightforward, or it was too much and too complicated. And where was the control in that? And I know that certain individuals didn't like me saying that. And it's like, well, truth hurts, right? Because you're doing it. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's why it bothers you. It's what happens. You go and you say you go to school to learn, but what do you actually learn? Because you're not supposed to ask any questions. How dare you question it? It's like, fuck you. Yeah, the question. Question if you know what you're fucking talking about. See, a lot of teachings that you go to school for, most of the stuff is memorized. Not a matter of whether they believe it or not, because whether they believed it or not, they had to, or they wouldn't, graduate. So you weren't. A lot of time, you're not supposed to question unless you're in like archaeology or history stuff like that. That's when you question things, but other things about like how you're told certain things went down in your history or what you're allowed to teach in school. You were allowed to teach one side, but you were always supposed to villainize the other side. So both sides weren't actually taught. Is that part of, yeah, the self-destruct? Like people hear people say, if I had the self-destruct button, yeah. If you had the self-destruct button, you'd blow your ass up because you'd be blowing your own self-destruct button. There's so many CSI or CIA stuff and stuff like that. See, they have all these gadgets and what have you, but the public don't have them. Why? Is it like they other stuff that they brought down and brought it to humans and just left it there figuring that, oh, well, we'll just let them figure it out. And then the first thing they figure out, that's how they use it. It's like, seriously, can you call yourselves gods? See, this channel is a spirit to spirit. And those spirits know exactly who I'm talking to. You think of, okay, Mary Magdalene made a lot of wrong choices. Jesus, I believe Jesus ran away, kept running away. And he went down a destructive path and he had to find his way back. See, when Jesus went to his hometown, what was did they get Jesus? Like, Jesus was a carpenter, they said, right? He was actually a jack of all trades because he was pretty intelligent. He would do things for people, but he began to hate it. It wasn't that he hated people, he just couldn't wrap his head around how people could do so many good things for others and others still treat them like a piece of shit. And then they say service to others. So maybe Jesus went on a service to self. And then the 40 days, 40 nights. What was he detoxing from? his own demons. You have to face the darkness. If you're on that journey, you face the darkness before you see the light. You see a speck of it, but you got to move to the darkness. Jesus had Mary, like they when they found, like when they like they duped it out. They literally went through hell. So yes, Mary was in one sense. See, if you say Jesus was killed, why was Jesus really killed? Was it because he said he was I am? Because everyone was saying it, like people were kind of saying that he was a raging lunatic, but not to believe anything he said. Sound familiar? Everything is all back and forth. I said we're going down the rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole goes wherever spirit takes you. Because it's spirit, when it comes forward, it's spirit telling versions of itself, of what the unseen, that you don't see, that you're not told. And what you're told is blasphemy and bullshit. It's figuring out where each piece goes. Because I'll tell you right now, if you look at Donald Trump, I'm using him as an example because everybody says that he's, people perceive him to be king and perceive him to be the president and, he's the president of the world. Okay. Nope, not jealous. I actually feel sorry for him. And you don't understand why I would say that, but maybe you will. If I see people commenting that Donald is Jesus, okay, and they say that the Antichrist can't say the name of Jesus. Well, what if the Antichrist was actually Jesus and he was able to say his own name? Okay, because is he not bringing division? Son of Man. See, is it possible that Jesus kept going back in time and was trying to, like, it was happening on both and trying to tell you something? Because if it was telling Thomas, that he was here to bring chaos. He was giving a heads up of what was going to transpire. People are sitting with that because I can feel it in the throat right here. He's responsible for the things that he's done. Whoever, you perceive it to be. But I said, is it possible that Jesus got so tired of people that he became ignorant and greedy himself? He does like to play poker. It says, play a fool to fool a fool. Well, if you look at the fool in the tarot card, they're both magicians. Or he's just plain being a magician. It's like warlock. You got warlock, witch, white lighter, witch, white witch. But do you think both sides don't go through shit? Do you think both sides don't experience the good and the bad? I watched the series Charmed, and when I watched that series, it was like, okay, that makes it like you see it. Piper fell in love with a white lighter. Piper was a witch, but she went and had her dark moments. And people say, well, that was because of what she's working with. Who do you think goes up against the fucking dark people, huh? Do you think it's someone there writing with a pen all the time? Like, seriously. Like, you came from both. Because you came from both the dark and the light, the yin and yang, the masculine, feminine. Because Trump, he will flip. Okay, Trump's daughter and Ivanka, how we pronounce her name, and her husband Jared. Okay, they're Jewish, and Donald Trump is saying he's Christian. Okay, excuse me. Is that not right along the lines of playing both sides? If anybody has ever looked at the Islamic oath, I believe it is, then they'd understand and realize what's happening. Somebody just said that shouldn't have said that. Well, hey, maybe it was an inside person that told me. It was said that Donald Trump took the oath. So it's figuring out what version is which, because it's over on the other side. Maybe when one says that it happened this way, you think he wouldn't have used different names? I see some stuff on here where Christians say that Jesus is Christian and God, and Muslims say that Jesus is Muslim. Seriously. Is that why there's such a split? Is that why you're hating on your own family? Because the family from the other side is in there and, you know, sorting through the shit. Like people are saying, like, you leave your family, that's what got everybody where they are today. Because nobody wanted to stay and fix, nobody wanted to stay and talk about anything. Nobody wanted to look at the problem. They always just wanted to bury it under the rug and just beat the shit out of each other, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, or verbally. So if you're healing from both masculine and feminine because it's working together with yourself, those sides of you. Masculines are pissed off at the feminines, and the feminines are pissed off at the masculines. They're saying, well, we want equal, we want equal. Well, you're keeping yourselves from equal. Because you're too worried about being equal that you don't realize that you need to see each other's worth. It's not about one person having this duty or being able to do this. It's about teaching each other how to do it so that if the other one is not around, then they are able to do it themselves. It's called working together. It's called, like, you have the protector. You gotta have like having each other's back because you're so in sync with one another. It's like, yeah, you want to be able to keep surprises. Well, you learn to have your space and boundaries. Meaning, like you like all the same things, but sometimes you just don't want to go to the same place at the same time. This is the Revelations. It's a love story. It's reuniting family. Sometimes the loved ones we feel we lost, they're still there. We just can't see them. Those birds and Brook thing, they sound so nice. I like nature, but I like people too. Do I know how to garden? No, but I have been doing pretty good growing plants in the house. But I would have, like, not with birds flying around because I wouldn't let the birds shit on my head and I don't want to lock birds in the house. But like a terrarium. You have all the plants around, but you just have the others as frequency. Making your way in the world today takes everything without it. doesn't take everything. Because it can't take your life if you don't let it. Yeah. Hallelujah. She cut your hair. She tied you to the kitchen chair. Sometimes I understand that song because I was like at my house after it and I got home. I kept washing my hair. Like I kept, and it was so hard that I ended up taking and I put my hair in a ponytail like that. And right on live Facebook, I just took and I just chopped it. I didn't do too bad. I still had to go and get it fixed. So it's like, there, how you like me now. I'm going to leave it there. And next time you want to, oh my gosh, I'm right nasally. Oh my gosh. Next time you want to read something biblical, don't let the way someone else interprets it, because you will come to your own interpretation once you start looking at yourself. Once you start looking inward and at your own ancestral line, you'll actually start understanding what it is that is being explained to you, because it's not being taught properly. But if you're looking for that Christ to know what is being told to you, find it in you. And in the meantime, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to everyone and to anyone and everyone wanting you to receive and accept. Much love, be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self. Be true to yourself, be kind to yourself, be true and kind to others, and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend at times. Once you see your self-worth, you'll see your life change. But it's you who has to do the work. I love you all.